I hated my smile and I hated my top teeth. They were discolored. One of them had a bad root canal. They were pointy and missing one up at the top. No confidence in my smile.
Here we have a really dark tooth at the front. The overall color he wasn't too happy with, and whitening never really worked too great for him. Some old fillings here as well that didn't look great. These teeth are a bit longer than that side. You can see a lot of the black here on both sides.
I didn't really think in day-to-day that I was that paranoid about moving my mouth, and especially working with the public, that how much I hid it until I didn't have to hide my smile anymore, and then I'm moving my mouth even more. I just feel great, constantly smiling.
Damien trusted the process actually. He just let us take over, but we were definitely checking in on him to make sure he was happy at every stage.
I didn't think something as simple as a smile could affect your confidence, and I didn't realise how paranoid I was about it until I got them in.
This is why I do the job. No matter how stressful it is, at the end of it, definitely seeing that smile, taking that final picture is the best part of the job, honestly.
If you're any way paranoid or any way self-conscious about it, it will change your life. It's definitely changed mine. It's made me so much happier. I hated my smile and I hated my top teeth. They were discolored. One of them had a bad root canal. They were pointy and missing one up at the top. No confidence in my smile.
Here we have a really dark tooth at the front. The overall color he wasn't too happy with, and whitening never really worked too great for him. Some old fillings here as well that didn't look great. And then just a little bit of asymmetry. These teeth are a bit longer than that side, so we wanted to bring everything down here. His smile also wasn't full, it was kind of narrow. You can see a lot of the black here on both sides, so we wanted to bring the teeth out a bit to make them a bit thicker and bring out the smile that way.
My options with either composite bonding or veneers, she gave me information on both of them, the options.
His teeth weren't misaligned. They were in a good position for us to do a minimal preparation. He was a great vibe, positive person, pleasure to deal with, which is always super.
I just booked it, just said, yeah, let's go for it. The next day I was in with the hygienist for a deep clean, and then back in with Laura for the fillings and extractions, and she passed me over to Dr. Ksenija for the cosmetic work, the veneers.
Because he did have quite a lot of teeth showing, so it's mainly his upper arch that's showing. So when he smiles, if we didn't do this tooth, for example, it would just stand out too much. We had to do 10 teeth here. The more teeth you do, the more symmetry there is, and everything looks kind of harmonious then. But of course we also want to keep things minimal and avoid unnecessary tooth preparation. All of this prep was quite minimal actually.
She just cared, and she showed you everything from the beginning, explained everything. She did the initial scan and then went through what work I needed.
On the first appointment, I took a photo. We took a digital impression, which is basically like a scan, so you don't need molds anymore. We do everything digitally. Then we worked with the designers in the Boris laboratory to basically create like a blueprint of where we want to be at the end, restoring the symmetry, restoring the length to where we want them to be. We always look at the pupil line for that symmetry, and then the facial midline as well, just to make sure that everything is in harmony with the face. Sometimes we have to actually cheat and make one side look a bit longer than the other, etc., just for it to be symmetrical inside the face and inside the mouth. We can kind of see where we want to be at the end before even proceeding. So when Damien saw that design, he was happy, he was ready to go. And then we used this design to actually create the temporaries. He was with these temporaries while we were producing the permanent porcelain restorations in the lab. He was already delighted at that point because he was really happy with symmetry and all the lengths. That's a great way to test drive the smile as well. We can always tweak things.
She showed me before and after. She's unreal, 10 out of 10.
Patients who have had root canals on their front teeth, they will know that those teeth very often go super dark. We did a little bit of whitening on that internally, and he also whitened the lower arch as well. If you just do a single arch with veneers and quite a bright color, but then the lower teeth are still a little bit darker, it can look a little bit strange and more obvious that you've had some work done in your mouth. We would always whiten the opposing arch if we're just doing a single arch treatment. He took about 2 weeks to do the whitening. The first appointment was just our consultation, whitening impressions. Second appointment was then for his preps, about 2-3 weeks after the whitening. The prep appointment is long, it's about 2.5, 3 hours long, fully numbed up, feel zero pain, and you're leaving with your nice temps already on that day.
She put in some temporary ones that were in for about 3 weeks. Even when it came to the pain, the temporary session was about 3 hours, which was a long time with someone in your mouth. If I was feeling pain, she'd stop, she'd put in more numbing stuff.
And then about 2-3 weeks after the preparation, we fit the veneers. So altogether it's about 3 appointments or so.
She would tell you at the start what was going to happen. She took you through everything that was going on. And with the temporary ones, there was a lot of noise and a lot of cracking and things. And she'd be like, don't worry, this is meant to sound like this. That's meant to. You were completely at ease through the whole thing, even with a drill in your mouth for 3 hours. It was fine.
Damien was so cooperative and so positive and just such a pleasure to be with. We always had a great time. Everything went really smoothly and predictably. Complications with this kind of treatment are quite rare because we're very minimal with the preparations. The amount of tooth that is taken away is about 0.5 to 0.7 millimeters. If we don't take tooth away, your teeth would look too bulky then.
I didn't think something as simple as a smile could affect your confidence, and I didn't realize how paranoid I was about it until I got them in. If I could do it all over again, I would. I don't need to.
Damien trusted the process actually. He just let us take over, but we were definitely checking in on him to make sure he was happy at every stage. Once we had the digital smile design, I showed it to him. He approved that straight away. When we're designing this digital smile design, we go back and forth with the designer in the Boris laboratory. He also knew that there was an opportunity to change the design when we did the temporaries on him. Once the local anesthetic wore off, the next day he was able to have a look at them in dynamic movement. So when he was smiling, eating, he was able to assess and analyze where the teeth were. You do have to trust the professional. We don't just design the teeth to look symmetrical, it has to look symmetrical in the mouth. Before I stick permanent veneers in, I always show it to the person. Then we stick them in permanently and that's it. If there's something that we're not happy with, even in the finals, we can tweak them, we can send them back to the lab before everything is permanently glued in.
When I was researching my own stuff, I did look at Turkey, and then obviously you go down a minefield on TikTok of Turkey teeth disasters. It was a straight out no. I was getting was ads from Turkey, and I was just like, no, no.
He's been so used to hiding his teeth, and this is what we find all the time with patients who are conscious about their smile. They come in on that first appointment and I'm trying to take the portraits. They just can't smile. They're used to either covering their mouth like this or smiling with their lip down over the teeth. Always super awkward on that first visit. I can't get a good smile for us to do the design. He's a very sociable person, positive guy, so that's such a shame that he couldn't shine through his expressions.
I didn't really think in day to day that I was that paranoid about moving my mouth, and especially working with the public, that how much I hid it until I didn't have to hide my smile anymore, and then I'm moving my mouth even more. I just feel great, constantly smiling. Just book the initial consultation and get it done, because you won't regret it and you won't look back. And I mean, it's on Dame Street, so you don't have far to go if something went wrong. What happens if you go to Turkey and one falls out on the plane? Like, it's a long way back to Turkey for a film, so.
He was delighted with the temps and he posted on Instagram next day about his temps. He was shouting it from the rooftops, telling everyone about his teeth. And then when he saw the permanent porcelain veneers, he was obviously over the moon, because the quality of the porcelain is so different to your temporaries. It's shiny, it's translucent, the teeth are all singular, so they're not connected.
Pain-free, pressure-free, you'll get a step-by-step guide, but you really won't look back. And if you're anyway paranoid or anyway self-conscious about it, it will change your life. It's definitely changed mine. It made me so much happier.
This is why I do the job. No matter how stressful it is with some cases, sometimes there's so much going on and you have to plan it all out, and timelines, schedules, everything can be just quite overwhelming sometimes. Even doing the work itself, sometimes the tooth has so much decay, you don't know where to begin. At the end of it, definitely seeing that smile, taking that final picture is the best part of the job, honestly. I know I've tried my best. I would treat everyone like I would my mom or my dad. If the patient's happy, I am so happy, and my nurse, Maria, as well, is actually such a big part of the journey. Not only is she great with the patient, reassuring them, calming them down and making sure they're comfortable while I'm injecting them. Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine that I would be making such an impact on somebody. So it's quite overwhelming, but so rewarding. I love it.